This is a list of musical terms that are likely to be encountered in printed scores, music reviews, and program notes. Most of the terms are Italian, in accordance with the Italian origins of many European musical conventions. Sometimes, the special musical meanings of these phrases differ from the original current Italian meanings. Most of the other terms are taken from French and German, indicated by FRE and GE, respectively. Others are from languages such as Portuguese, Latin, Spanish, and Polish. Unless specified, the terms are Italian or English. The list can never be complete. Some terms are common, and others are used only occasionally, and new ones are coined from time to time. Some composers prefer terms from their own language rather than the standard terms listed here. A or a at, to, by, a for, in the style of a to see a do a to return to normal tempo after a deviation. Not recommended in string parts, due to possible confusion with battuto. Use a tempo, which means the same thing. A bene plus 2, up to the performer. A cappella, a capriccio, a free and capricious approach to tempo. A duo, intended as a duet for two voices or instruments. Together, two instruments are to play in unison after a solo passage for one of the instruments. A net and a cosa, to nothing, an indication to hold a fermata until it dies away. A niente, to nothing, an indication to make a diminuendo which fades to ppp. A piacere, at pleasure. A prima vista side read. A tempo, in time, also may be found in combination with other terms such as a tempo giusto or a tempo di menuetto. Ab off, organ stops. A mute sbaffando, muffled, muted. Abandon or avec free, unrestrained, passionate. Abbandonatamente, con abbandono free, relaxed. But accarezzevole, expressive and caressing. Accelerando, accelerating, gradually increasing the tempo. Accelerato, suddenly increasing the tempo. Accent, emphasize, make a particular part more important. Accentato, accentuato, accented, with emphasis. Accesso, ignited, on fire. Accessible, music that is easy to listen to, understand. Acciaccato, broken down, crushed, the sounding of the notes of a chord not quite simultaneously, but from bottom to top. Acciaccatura, crushing. Accompagnato, accompanied. Accuratezza, precision, accuracy. Con accuratezza, with precision. Acoustic, relating to music produced by instruments, as opposed to electric or electronic means. Ad libitum, at liberty. Adagiato, rather slow. Adagio, at ease. Adagissimo, very, very slow. Affanato, affanoso, anguished. Affetto, con affetto, with effect. Affettuoso, affettuoso, or affectuosamente, with effect. See also con affetto. Affrettando, hurrying, pressing onwards. Agile, swiftly. Agitato, agitated. Al or alla, to the, in the manner of alcuna licenza, lit. No restriction, used in con alcuna licenza to mean with some freedom in the time. See rubato, all, ottava, at the octave. See ottava. Alla breve, in cut time. 2 beats per measure are the equivalent there of alla marcia in the style of a march. Alla polacca in the style of a polonaise. Allargando, broadening, becoming a little slower each time. Allegretto, a little lively, moderately fast. Allegretto vivace, a moderately quick tempo. Allegrezza, cheerfulness, joyfulness. Allegrissimo, very fast, though slower than presto. Allegro, cheerful or brisk, but commonly interpreted as lively, fast. Als, than, alt, altdom, or altered dominant. A jazz term which instructs chord playing musicians such as a jazz pianist or jazz guitarist to perform a dominant chord with at least one altered, fifth or ninth. Altissimo, very high. Alto, high, are often refers to a particular range of voice, higher than a tenor but lower than a soprano. Alzit, sordini, lift or raise the mute. Some steg at the bridge. See sul ponticello, amabile, amiable, pleasant. Ambitus, ranged between highest and lowest note. Amor or amor, love. Con amor, with love. Tendi, amoroso, Loving anacrusis, a note and notes that precede the first full bar, a pickup andamento used to refer to a fugue subject of above average length, andante at a walking pace, andantino slightly faster than andante, angstlich, anxiously, anima life, feeling con anima, with feeling animando, see animated, lively, animato animated, lively, antiphon, a liturgical or other composition consisting of choral responses, sometimes between two choirs, a passage of this nature forming part of another composition, a repeated passage in a psalm or other liturgical piece, similar to a refrain, a paese, calm de passionato, passionately, appoggiatura, a leaning note, one or more graced notes that take up some note value of the next full note. Arco, the bow used for playing some string instrument, normally used to cancel a pizzicato direction aria, self-contained piece for one voice, usually with orchestral accompaniment, arietta, a short aria, arioso airy, or like an air, melodious armonioso, harmoniously, arpeggio like a harp. In music for piano, this is sometimes a solution in playing a wide-ranging chord whose notes cannot be played otherwise. Arpeggios are frequently used as an accompaniment. See also broken chord, arpeggiato, a way of playing the chord, starting with the lowest note, and with successively higher notes rapidly joining in. Sometimes the effect is reversed, so that the highest note is played first. Articulato, articulately, say much, very much, says enough, sufficiently, attacker, attack, or attach, go straight on, Ausdruck, expression, Ausdrucksvoll, mit Ausdruck, expressively, with expression, avec, with or with another, b German for b flat, h in German as b natural, ballabil in ballet. The term refers to a dance performed by the corps de ballet. The term grand ballabil is used if nearly all participants of a particular scene in a full-length work perform a large-scale dance. Barbaro, barbarous, Bartok pizzicato, a term that instructs string performers to play a pizzicato note to pull the string away from the fingerboard so that it snaps back percussively on the fingerboard. Bass, the lowest of the standard four voice ranges, the lowest melodic line in a musical composition, often thought of as defining and supporting the harmony in an orchestral context. The term usually refers to the double bass. Basso continuo, continuous bass, used especially in the Baroque period. Battement, used in the 17th century to refer to ornaments consisting of two adjacent notes, such as trills or mordent spatuto, to strike the strings with the bow. Beat 1. The pronounced rhythm of music 2. One single stroke of a rhythmic accent. Belletta, spirited, vivacious, lively. Bellicoso, warlike, aggressive. Bene, well, in ben mercato, for example. Bend, jazz term referring either to establishing a pitch, sliding down half a step and returning to the original pitch, or sliding up half a step from the original note. Beschleunigte, accelerated, as in mit beschleunigter Geschwindigkeit, at an accelerated tempo. Bewegt, moved, with speed. Binary, a musical form in two sections. A bird's eye, a slang term for fermotar, which instructs the performer to hold a note or chord as long as they wish. Bis twice bisbigliando, whispering. Bocca chiusa, with closed mouth. Bravura, boldness, as in con bravura, boldly bright. Broad bridge, transitional passage connecting two sections of a composition. Also transition, also the part of a stringed instrument that holds the strings in place and transmits the vibrations to the resonant body of the instrument. Brillante, brilliantly, with sparkle. Brio, a brioso, vigor, usually in con brio, with spirit or vigor. Broken chord, a chord in which the notes are not all played at once, but in some more or less consistent sequence. They may follow singly one after the other, or two notes may be immediately followed by another two. For example, see also arpeggio, which as an accompaniment pattern may be seen as a kind of broken chord. See Alberti bass. Bruscamente, brusquely. See Cabaletta, the concluding, rapid, audience-rousing section of an aria cadenza, a solo section, usually in a concerto or similar work, that is used to display the performer's technique, sometimes at considerable length calando, falling away, or lowering calma calm, second calma, calmly. Also calmato, meaning calmed, relaxed, calare, warmth, second calare, warmly cambiar, to change canon, a canon, a theme that is repeated and imitated and built upon by other instruments with a time delay, creating a layered effect. See Pachelbel's canon. Cantabile, cantando, in a singing style. In instrumental music, a style of playing that imitates the way the human voice might express the music, with a measured tempo and flexible legato. Canto, chorus, choral, chant, capo 1. A key-changing device for stringed instruments 2. Head capriccio, a humorous, fanciful, or bizarre composition, are often characterized by an idiosyncratic departure from current stylistic norms. See also, capriccio, capricioso, capriciously, unpredictable, volatile, cavalleresco, chivalrously, ce, acute, dez, yield, give way, cesura, a caesura, break, stop, chuso, closed coda, tail codetta, a small coda, but usually applied to a passage appended to a section of a movement, not to a whole movement. Colla, with the collegno, with the wood to be struck with the wood of the bow, making a percussive sound. Also batu, to collegno, beaten with the wood. Col pugno, with the fist. Col ottava, with the addition of the octave note above or below the written note, abbreviated as col 8, and C. 8. Virginia Collapati, with the soloist, as an instruction in an orchestral score apart. It instructs the conductor or orchestral musician to follow the rhythm and tempo of a solo performer. Colla voce, with the voice, as an instruction in a choral music, opera score or orchestral part. It instructs the conductor or orchestral musician to follow the rhythm and tempo of a solo singer. Coloratura, coloration, colossal, tremendously, comprima, like the first, cum sopra, as above. Common time, the time signature, 4/4, 4 beats per measure, each beat a quarter note in length. 4/4 is often written on the musical staff as. The symbol is not AC as an abbreviation for common time, but a broken circle. The full circle at one time stood for triple time, 3/4. Comodo, comfortable, also allegro comodo, tempo comodo, etc. Con with, used in very many musical directions, for example con allegrezza, con amor, con sordina, a consordian with a mute, or with mutes, see sordina. Frequently seen in music as consordino, or consordini, conjunct, an adjective applied to a melodic line that moves by step rather in disjunct motion. Contralto, lowest female singing voice type. Contrapuntalism. See counterpoint. Caperti, covered corda, string. On piano refers to use of the soft pedal which controls whether the hammer strikes one of 3 strings. See una corda, tre chord below. Crescendo, growing. Cuivre, brassy. Used almost exclusively as a French horn technique to indicate a forced, rough tone. A note marked both stopped and loud will be cuivre, automatically custis, symbol at the very end of a staff of music which indicates the pitch for the first note of the next line as a warning of what is to come. The custis was commonly used in handwritten Renaissance and typeset Baroque music. Cut time, same as the meter, 2 halves, 2 half note beats per measure, notated and executed like common time, except with the beat lengths doubled, indicated by. This comes from a literal cut of the symbol of common time. Thus, a quarter note in cut time is only half a beat long, and a measure has only 2 beats. See also alla breve, d da capo, from the head dal segno. For the sign dal segno al coda, repeat back to the sign dal segno al. Find from the sign to the end dal segno al coda, same as d s al coda, but with a double segno dal segno al. Find from the double sign to the end and continue to the end of the piece, decelerando, slowing down, decelerating, opposite of accelerando, deciso, decisively, declamando, solemn, expressive, impassioned, decrescendo, same as diminuendo, dist. For the Latin dse, meaning to be missing, placed after a catalogue abbreviation to indicate that this particular work does not appear in it. The plural decent is used when referring to several works. Delicatamente, delicato, delicately, datice, act of playing notes separately, devoto, religiously, diminuendo, dim, dwindling, disjunct, an adjective applied to a melodic line which moves by leap as opposed to conjunct motion, die, if dissonante, dissonant, the visi, divided. It is most often used for string instruments, since with them another means of execution is often possible. Do-en, jazz term referring to a note that slides to an indefinite pitch chromatically upwards. Dolce, sweetly, dolcissimo, very sweetly, dolente, sorrowfully, plaintively, dolore, pain, distress, sorrow, grief, con dolore, with sadness, doloroso, sorrowfully, plaintively, doppio movimento, twice as fast, double dot. Two dots placed side by side after a note to indicate that it is to be lengthened by 3/4 of its value. Double stop, the technique of playing two notes simultaneously on a bowed string instrument down tempo. A slow, moody, or decreased tempo are played or done in such a tempo. It also refers to a genre of electronic music based on this drammatico, dramatically droned bass note chord performed continuously throughout a composition. Drop, jazz term referring to a note that slides to an indefinite pitch chromatically downwards. Duolo, grief, dumph, dull, dur major, used in key signatures as, for example, A dur, B dur, or H dur. Dynamics, the relative volume in the execution of a piece of music, e or ed, and echo, the Italian word for echo, an effect in which a group of notes is repeated, usually more softly, and perhaps at a different octave, to create an echo effect. Ein, when a gay little Empfindung, feeling, and die Horse, prominently and present, hurrying forward, and retenant, slowing encore, and energico, energetic, strong, emphatically, heroically, espansivo, effusive, excessive in emotional expression, gushy. Esperando, expiring, espressioner, expression, expressively, espressiona, with expression, espressivo or espr, expressively, estinto, extinct, extinguished, et was somewhat facile, easily, without fuss, fall. Jazz term describing a note of definite pitch sliding downwards to another note of definite pitch. Falsetto vocal register above the normal voice. Filage, solemn, solemnly, fermotar, finished, closed. A fermotar at the end of a first or intermediate movement. A section is usually moderately prolonged, but the final fermotar of a symphony may be prolonged for longer than the note value, typically twice its printed length. A more for dramatic effect. Feroci, ferociously, festivamente, cheerfully, celebratory, fury, fiery, firmente, proudly, fill di voce, thread of voice, very quiet, pianissimo, fill. A jazz or rock term which instructs performers to improvise a scale, a passage, a riff, to fill in the brief time between lyrical phrases. The lines of melody, or between two sections, find the end, are often in phrases like alpine flat, a symbol that lowers the pitch of a note by a semitone. The term may also be used as an adjective to describe a situation where a singer or musician is performing a note in which the intonation is an eighth or a quarter of a semitone too low. Flautando or flautendo, flute-like, used especially for string instruments to indicate a light, rapid bowing over the fingerboard flebile. Mournfully focoso a fuocoso, fiery forte, strong forte, piano strong gentle, or an early piano forte, fortissimo very loud, fortissimo, as loud as possible, forza musical force, conforza, with force, forzando, cease, forzando, freddo cold, hence depressive, unemotional, fresco, freshly, frolic, lively, joyfully, fugue, fuga literally flight, hence a complex and highly regimented contrapuntal form in music. A short theme is introduced in one voice alone, then in others, with imitation and characteristic development as the piece progresses. Funebra, funeral, often seen as marcia funebra, indicating a stately and plodding tempo. Fuoco, fire, con fuoco, with fire, in a fiery manner, furia, fury, furioso, furiously, gp, grand pause, general pause, indicates to the performers that the entire ensemble has a rest of indeterminate length, often as a dramatic effect during a loud section. Gaudioso, with joy, gemically, unhurried, at a leisurely pace, gemendo, groaningly, gentile, gently geschwind, quickly, get healthy, divisi, getrigan, solemnly, in a stately tempo, giocoso, agioioso, gaily, giosto, strictly, exactly, glissando, a continuous sliding from one pitch to another, or an incidental scale executed while moving from one melodic note to another. See glissando for further information, and compare portamento. Grace note, an extra note added as an embellishment and not essential to the harmony or melody. Grandioso, grandly, grave, slowly and seriously, grazioso, gracefully, gustoso, with happy emphasis and forcefulness. H German for B natural. B in German means B flat, Hauptstimme, main voice, chief part. Hemiola, the imposition of a pattern of rhythm or articulation other than that implied by the time signature, specifically, in triple time, the imposition of a double pattern. See syncopation, herv or tritend, prominent, pronounced hold. See fermotar, homophony, a musical texture with one voice accompanied by chords, also used as an adjective. Compare with polyphony, in which several voices or melody lines are performed at the same time. Immer, always, imperioso, imperiously, impetuoso, impetuously, improvisando, with improvisation, improvisato, improvised, or as if improvised, in alt, in altissimo, in modo di, in the art of, in the style of, instant, a term for brass players that requires them to direct the bell of their instrument into the music stand, instead of up and toward the audience, thus muting the sound but without changing the timbre, as a mute would in calzando, getting faster and louder, in a intimately, heartfelt, insistendo, insistently, deliberate, intimo, intimately, intro, opening section, orato, angrily, esimamente, a suffix meaning as can be assimo, a suffix meaning extremely, jazz standard, a well-known composition from the jazz repertoire which is widely played and recorded. Jet, French jeté, jump, a bowing technique in which the player is instructed to let the bow bouncer jump off the strings. Keyboardist, a musician who plays any instrument with a keyboard. In classical music, this may refer to instruments such as the piano, pipe organ, harpsichord, and so on. In a jazz or popular music context, this may refer to instruments such as the piano, electric piano, synthesizer, Hammond organ, and so on. Klangfarben, melody, tone, color, melody, distribution of pitch or melody among instruments, varying timbrecraft, strongly lacrimoso, lacrimoso, tearfully, laissez vibra, L. V. French for lâcher sur un air, lamentando lamenting, mournfully lamentoso lamenting, mournfully langsam, slowly largamente broadly larghetto somewhat slowly, not as slow as largo larghez of broadness, con larghezza with broadness, broadly largissimo, very slowly, slower than largo largo broadly lâcher sur un air. Let ring, meaning allow the sound to continue, do not damp, used frequently in harp or guitar music, occasionally in piano or percussion, abbreviated lasc, suon. Leap or skip a melodic interval greater than a major second, as opposed to a step. Melodies which move by a leap are called disjunct. Octave leaps are not uncommon in florid vocal music. Lebaft briskly, lively legato joined leggierissimo very lightly and delicately. Leggero, leggermente or leggero lightly, delicately leidenschaftlich, passionately lent. Slowly lentando gradual slowing and softer lentissimo very slowly lento. Slowly liberamente, freely libero free, freely lilt a jaunty rhythm lo stesso tempo, or lo stesso tempo, the same tempo, despite changes of time signature, symmetric modulation lo stesso the same, applied to the manner of articulation, tempo, etc. Loco, place. In string music, also used to indicate return to normal playing position, long accent hit hard and keep full value of note lontano. From a distance, distantly lugubrious, mournful luminoso, luminously lunga along luingando, losing guero coaxingly, flatteringly, caressingly ma, but ma non troppo, ma non tanto but not too much maestoso majestically, in a stately fashion maggiore the major key magico, magically magnifico, magnificent main droid right hand main gauche left hand malinconico, melancholic mancando dying away mano destra right hand mano sinistra left hand marcatissimo with much accentuation marcato, marked marcia. A march alla marcia means in the manner of a march martellato hammered out marcia lay martial, solemn and fierce massive, moderately mdc mano destra a main droid measure. Also, bar the period of a musical piece that encompasses a complete cycle of the time signature medesimo tempo, same tempo, despite changes of time signature medley, piece composed from parts of existing pieces, usually three, played one after another, sometimes overlapping. Melancholico, melancholic melisma, the technique of changing the note of a syllable of text while it is being sung. Meno, lest si meno mosso, for example, less mosso messa di voce in singing, a controlled swell mesto mournful, sad meter a meter. The pattern of a music piece's rhythm of strong and weak beats mezzo voce half voice mezzo, half, used in combinations like mezzo forte, meaning moderately loud, mezzo forte half loudly. See dynamics, mezzo piano half softly. See dynamics. Mezzo-soprano, a female singer with the range usually extending from the A below middle C to the F and 11th above middle C. Mezzo-sopranos generally have a darker vocal tone than sopranos, and the vocal range is between that of a soprano and that of a contralto. Mg. C main gauche misterioso, mysteriously mid-dampfer with a mute, metronome marking, formerly Mausel metronome, mobile flexible, changeable moderato, moderate, often combined with other terms, usually relating to tempo, for example, allegro moderato moderi, moderately modesto, modest modulation, the active process of changing from one key to another. This may or may not be accompanied by a change in key signature. Moll, minor, used in key signatures as, for example, a moll, b-moll, or h-moll, molto. Very mordant, rapid alternation of a note with the note immediately below or above it in the scale, sometimes further distinguished as lower mordant and upper mordant. The term inverted mordant usually refers to the upper mordant. mirendo dying, mosso moved, moving, used with a preceding piu amino, for faster or slower respectively. Moto, motion, usually seen as con moto, meaning with motion, a quickly movement, a section of a musical composition. Msc mano sinistra munta, lively musette, dance, a tune of a drone bass character, originally played by a musette muta. Change, either a change of instrument or a change of tuning. Note does not mean mute, for which consordinare consordino is used. Muta comes from the Italian verb mutere,